Thomas Huxley, who was the best friend of Charles Darwin, and who then ran with Darwinism after Darwin died, and his son Aldous worked with Tavistock Institute, which was to deal with scientifically created propaganda and mind control out of London, and formulas for the media to copy for perfect propaganda. And his brother, Julian Huxley, became the first CEO of UNESCO because they wanted to get a common education across the world so that everyone would be given the same indoctrination, and he did say indoctrination.
You can see it happening in Germany, Alan, because the government there is forbidding parents to homeschool because the country says they want to have the child from 2 years of age up till 21 years of age to provide their own brand of indoctrination. Right. So, and there's
I didn't catch any of that.
Okay, what Richard was saying was that in Germany, they're working very hard to stop the homeschooling. They won't allow them to homeschool anymore. And,
yes.
And they're specifically doing that so that the children are indoctrinated according to state rules, regulations, thought.
Yep.
Any idea of that happening in other places in the world?
Everything that happens in the United States, Canada, or Britain is happening across the whole planet at the same time. As I say, we are already under a governmental world system, and the big institutions, as I say, they draft up legislation. Every law that's been passed, even to do with building codes, farming codes, every code you can imagine to do with living, food, industry, has come from the United Nations for the last 50 years, and now it's even more apparent. They've come out in the open and admitted that.
Right. Alan, we have to go for a commercial break right now. When we come back, I'd like to talk about the privatization of what used to be municipal services like water and power and how that is used as a method of control. We'll be right back. We're on the phone with Alan Watt. Alan, we have so many points to get through, so we're just going to shoot a bunch of questions at you. Maybe you can just fill in people quickly and then encourage them to watch your DVD because it's very informational. Alan, the privatization of municipal services, we see it happening everywhere. What does that have to do with this New World Order and globalization project?
But again, it was explained by Professor Carroll Quigley, who was a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and the historian for them. And he said that the up-and-coming system is to be a new feudal system where the feudal overlords will be the CEOs of international corporations. And by that, he meant that they would run everything that the average person needs to live: food, water, clothing, heating, housing, and so on. It's also to go into the United Nations Biodiversity Treaty, where they've set up Agenda 21, the agenda for the 21st century. They want to start moving people en masse out of their land in the rural areas, put them into the already overcrowded city as a temporary phase as they bring down the populations. And then for the elite wealthy class, they have their dachshunds in the country, these ultra-modern high-tech homes with solar heating and all the rest of it, as they go through a step-by-step process for 3 generations.
Alan, how are they going to do this? I mean, who's going to grow their food for them? If these people, how is that going to happen?
Not only that, but Alan, have you heard about? We had a gentleman called Bill Ryan on back a couple of weeks ago, and he said he heard from a Norwegian parliamentary minister that they're building underground bunkers to protect the elite of the country and letting the citizens fend for themselves. Have you heard anything about that?
Yes, they've been. Margaret Thatcher, in fact, was under the microscope back in the 1980s about the same thing when it was disclosed by Man Alive program investigative team. that Britain was doing the same thing for the wealthy elite. And they questioned Thatcher about it, and she said, yes, we do have these underground homes where those who are necessary for the survival and continuity of government and the race will go to survive for however long it might be. It could be 100, 200 years, if need be. And so that's been admitted. She also admitted that no member of the public that wasn't approved would get in. They'd be shot by members of the Special Air Service who would guard the entrances.
But I still don't know how these wealthy people, they can't do anything for themselves. Who's going to work for them? I mean, if everybody's shoved in these cities and they're decreasing the population, it kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Not really, no. You have to understand the big scope here. When they talk about post-humanist era, and it's all over the science magazines now and universities, and you look at the transhumanist agenda, and look at the world meetings they're having, they're talking about a new type of more efficient worker, humanoid type, which they're going to create, just like Aldous Huxley's Brave New World.
Yeah.
They have the means to do it. They've been experimenting with it. And they believe that once they come out of some crisis, whether it's man-made or otherwise, probably will be man-made with pandemics and so on, according to Brown. He's boasting that these plagues are definitely coming soon and are going to wipe out a lot of the people. Then they hope to then create scientifically more perfected slaves, and they've written lots about it. They've had world meetings on this at Loyola University, even to do with the brain chipping of the entire population during this transition process from humanist to post-humanist agenda. So,
wow, that's amazing. How do these secret societies fit into this? We have Freemasons and, of course, the Skull and Bones and all that. Are they an active part of this, or are they like a cover?
Most of them are a cover. They've always used charitable institutions at the bottom. It isn't until you dig into them in a deeper level that most of these philanthropic organizations have an actual intergenerational agenda. And see, we think in very short-term planning. We think of in our lifetime what we can accomplish. These characters wrote 300-odd years ago, and even longer. John Dee wrote about a coming world system. He called it the British Empire. He coined the term, including free trade, etc., across the planet, and how they'd bring every country in the world under it by force if necessary. Yeah. That was in the 16th century.
Alan, can you hear me?
Yes.
We banter around the word Illuminati quite a bit. I mean, is this organization really, in fact, out there running things, or do we just use the word as a blanket for everybody in the elite?
It's a blanket term today, but if you go into the Oxford dictionaries, the old ones, they'll tell you that the term Illuminati was first used in the 15th century, and then down through the centuries. And the illumined ones, in other words, are those who believe they're the highest evolved species on the planet, and they have high intellect, and for they do believe they have the right to rule the rest of the people and do with them as they please. It's an elitist, psychopathic organization, in fact. But the secret societies, there's no doubt whatsoever they've had a hand in this, and I have many of their old books.
Right.
And when you go into it, the eugenics programs that we now hear about, we call them bioethics committees now since World War II, because eugenics got a bad name during Hitler's reign, and so they call it bioethics. These worldwide bioethics committees are working on eugenics and the creation of new superhumans, more perfected humans, etc. And life extension, but not to be given to everyone, only for those who are worthy and deserve it.
On your something I listened to on your website, you